Am I audible, students? How are you all? Good morning, class. Am I audible?
Good morning, ma'am.
Yeah. Yes, good morning. I'll just wait for a few minutes and we begin with the class. Today we'll talk about trusteeship council, right? And we'll discuss two of the specialized agencies, right? In the meantime, I'll be sharing the PPT with you people. Please let me know once you receive it.
Yes, ma'am. You're audible.
Okay, Bacha, thank you. So, students, shall we start the class? Yes, students.
Ma'am, you can start the class.
Okay. So today we'll talk about one another important organ of the UN, that is the Trusteeship Council. Firstly, the first thing that comes to my mind is about trust territories and trusteeship council. What do you understand by the same? So, during the League of Nations, there was a system was that was called as mandate system, right? This mandate system was introduced by League of Nations, that was the predecessor of the United Nations. It was there to improve the well-being of people and also well-being of colonies, or the colonies which were made by various superpowers is like UK. There were France colonies. There were, of course, French colonies. Sorry, there were Portuguese colonies. So the well-being of these people of the colonies and the territories or the countries who were dependent upon some other nation state. So this was called the mandate system. So the system basically, came to an end right after the League of Nations failed. And with when UN got established, this mandate system was reintroduced and the name was called the Trusteeship Council. So the main points that are important, or you can say, again, UN has been made for for the objectives, that is again for the furtherance of peace and security, and second, to promote political, economic, social, and educational advancement of his people, especially of the inhabitants of these trust territories, and for their progressive development, and also encourage them towards making them towards self-government, having a self-government, as well as enjoy their independence. Because all the colonies were actually fighting, or they were, trying harder to attain their independence during the time of creation or establishment of United Nations. So again, also another objective, or you can say, idea behind creation of trusteeship council was that there should be encouragement for human rights, for fundamental freedoms, and also again, with all these should be without any discrimination as of race, sex, place of stay, language, religion, etc., and the recognition, of world peace in all this, diversity, and also equal treatments again for the same for nationals, for equal treatment for for the inhabitants of these trust territories in the means of social, economic, and commercial matters, right? So all this was relevant and important. Why? Because trust council was made for the betterment of these territories who were dependent, who were who were not have not attained their independence as yet. So trusteeship council was made up of, like, while it was made up of, again, the five permanent members: the China, the France, the Russian Federation, the UK, the USA. So the aims of the trusteeship council have been fulfilled to a larger extent, and even for that reason, the relevance and importance of the trusteeship council has reduced comparatively. because most of the states have actually attained their independence and they are progressing towards the better governance as well as self-governance as well as for their development, right? So in that particular case, while we talk about mandates that were before the trusteeship council that was made during the League of Nations. So the history is basically in relation to the mandate system. The mandates or the league mandates were the territories, that were actually detached from particular nation state during the world wars. So they used to acquire the territory right after the World War. And thereafter, the people or the inhabitants of that territory used to become under them and they created mandates for that reason. Okay. And uh, what what is current position? How are mandates operational now, or how these trusts, were a terminology which was used during the League of Nations, but now we use the term trust. Okay, so trust territories, these are the name which was given to them. So, as far as the introduction is concerned, the charter provides that the international trusteeship system, with again the objectives for the furthering of international peace and security, should promote advancement of these inhabitants of trust territories and their progressive development towards self-government or independence. So, trust territories include territories held under the mandate at the commencement of the charter, territories which may be detached from enemy states as a result of the Second World War, and the territories who are voluntarily placed on a system by states for their administration. So trust territories are basically the territories who cannot govern themselves, who are dependent, who were also the mandates before the UN came into picture during the League of League mandates, and also the enemy states who resulted after the Second World War, and those states who cannot voluntarily administer their nation state, and that is the reason they have voluntarily placed themselves under this system. Right? Is it clear? The introduction of the Trusteeship Council? Yes, class? Are you following?
Yes, ma'am. You can move forward now.
Okay. So, right after this, we'll talk about its composition. So, Trusteeship Council is composed of, firstly, those members who are administering the trust territories. So, the administrators or or you can say the ones who are governing those trust territories. So, we discussed about trust territories. Trust territories are those colonies or mandates, league mandates who were there before. We discussed that even if somebody wants to get governed by some other nation state, they can also come voluntarily under the trust territory, and also those enemy states that were brought under the nation states under the permanent members during the Second World War. So they were declared as trust territories, and they cannot govern themselves and they cannot have their independence, and they were dependent upon those trust, the territories who were their administrator. So, firstly, the composition, the trusteeship council consists of those members who are administering the trust territories. So, second, such permanent members of Security Council as they do not administer trust territories. So, even trusteeship council consists of those members who are not, only those permanent members who are not having any trust territories. Thirdly, states elected by the General Assembly for a period of 3 years. For many states are to be elected in this category. Again, it is necessary that total number of members of trusteeship council is equally divided between the the members of the UN as well as trust territories, and there should be trusteeship council should designate qualified and specially qualified person to actually represent them, right? So this was about the composition, and this is elected for a period of 3 years. So they want to, the General Assembly has this contention that there should be equal division between the members of the UN and the administrators of these trust territories, right? So in order to maintain that balance, they maintain that ratio. They are elected each year for 3 years, the members of the trusteeship council. Okay, coming to the voting part. So each member of the council has one vote, and the decisions of the trusteeship council are made by again majority members present and voting. And it actually adopts its rules of procedure, including including the method of selecting its provisions, or convening its meetings, or it is all done by the majority of people present, majority of members present and voting. So while trusteeship council, whenever it feels it's appropriate, it can have assistance of the economic and social council, and also of other specialized agencies in regards to those matters that are concerned or related to those agencies, right? So this is the procedure how this trusteeship council works. So coming to the powers and functions, right? So what is the role of trusteeship council firstly? Again, as I discussed, it has to administer authority. Authority, again, it is authorized to examine, discuss reports from those administering authorities of those trust territories on various political, economic, social, and educational advancement of people of trust territories, and in consultation with administrating authorities. Again, they are to examine petitions from and to undertake periodic and other special missions to the trust territories. That it has to examine petitions, accept petitions and examine them in consultation with the administrating authority. Again, the council may provide for periodic visits to press territories at times agreed upon with administrative authority. And also, these actions may, may be taken by another along with these in conformity with terms of trusteeship agreements, right? So the main task or main work of this trusteeship council is to regulate or examine or discuss reports that are generated by the administrating authorities for the people of the trust, and also help them advancement in various facets of politics, economics, social and educational, and help them grow. Okay, so coming to the idea how far you know trust territories have advanced, or what is their success all about. So since we are in the 75th year of UN, right? So in 2021, United Nations completes its 75th year. So what is the standing of a trusteeship council right now? So We all know that UN and Trusteeship Council have actually worked hard, and that is the reason, so many nation states are independent. They have their own, governing agencies, governments, and they have independence, and they are able to maintain themselves. They have a good, growing economy. They are developing nations now, and in order to review the contributions of the Trusteeship Council to the world peace, to development, to human rights, and the rule of law. You know, again, what has Trusteeship Council done? So again, as I told you, that the member states who are administering the trust territories have also promised them that they will create, have those territories have to develop self-government to take due account of all the political aspirations of the people, and also they have assisted them in the progressive development for their political institutions, and also help them, at the varying stages of advancement. So it has readily achieved all its goals that were set forth in front of it. While this UN was established after the World War II, in the continuation of the mandate system, there were so many territories that were previously mandates under the League of Nations. And then eventually they become independent countries, right? For example, the territory of Palau. So the territory of Palau was PALAU, was previously a mandate of Japan. The Republic of Palau was under Japan as a mandate, right? And after the World War II, it became under the strategic trust territory of the Pacific Islands and was administered by the United States, sorry, USA. And thereafter, the Palau became an independent country in 1947, right? And also, there are many such examples who have, you know, these were again when there was an onset of the trust territories. There were 10 trusts that was created, under the UN Trusteeship Council at the very beginning, right? And there was Western Samoa that was administered by New Zealand. Then there was Tanganyika that was administered by the UK, right? And then there was Rwanda that was administered by Belgium. There were Cameroons, which were administered by partly by British administration and partly by French administration. Similarly, Togoland were partly administered by the British and partially by the France. Then there was New Guinea that was administered by the Australia, and there was Italian Somaliland that was administered by Italy, and as I told you about the strategic trust territory of the Pacific Islands, there were numerous islands that were administered under by the USA. So the trust territory of Pacific Islands was, again, as I told you, there were a number of islands and they were broken up into pieces. So the Northern Mariana Islands became the Commonwealth in political union with United States. And rest, there were so many federal states of maybe Marsh Islands, there were Micronesia, etc., and they were wanted to have a free association with United States. So after, right after the territory was, we discussed about Palua. Palua was again before the Trusteeship Council was a mandate to Japan, and then it came under the trust territory of the Pacific Islands by the USA, right? And it got its independence in 47, and it became a sovereign state in 1994 as it was able to govern themselves. And it became the member of UN in 1995. So, Trusteeship Council has actually achieved its goals of these 11 trust territories again, since the creation of the United Nations. But Trusteeship Council has actually somewhat suspended its work since 1994 because this is a rare international institution whose stated agenda has been actually accomplished, right? Having done this part of debate, what is the future of Trusteeship Council? If we talk about the achievements of Trusteeship Council, that it has actually uh, has overcome and has accomplished all the objectives and agenda that was set forth for this council while the creation of this council. But while we talk about elimination of this particular trusteeship council, we should not think about that. Why? Because we would require to have a amendment in the UN Charter firstly, and also a process that is unlikely to be entered. Again, it will automatically call for the and also it will not be permitted because of the vetoing power of the permanent members. So it's very hard to actually eliminate or cancel the relevance of trusteeship council. So after like 26, 27 years of its suspension of work or suspension of its status, it appears that um, even even the nation states want to retire or they want to reform the defunct, it has become defunct Trusteeship Council. So it is also a suggestion that was made by a UN Secretary General in 1997, Sir Kofi A. Annan, that there should be a comprehensive plan to renew this United Nations and proposed a reconstituting Trusteeship Council as a forum that would, the forum through which the member states will exercise their collective trusteeship for integrity of global environment and common areas such as ocean, atmosphere, and outer space. So he set before this ideology as the renewing strategy of United Nations and also to reform this idea of UN. So all this, there was reformation that could UN and its civil society, it could touch upon all the global concerns which would require an active contribution of public, private, and voluntary areas, right? So this was about the future of the Trusteeship Council and the relevance of the Trusteeship Council and what are the tasks that are done by the Trusteeship Council. I hope you all followed. If you have any questions, you can shoot your questions. You can ask me. And right after this, we'll start the discussion on the next two specialized agencies for the day. RITAS. And also this week, you have your MCQ paper on the 19th. So I would recommend you that you should prepare well. If you have any questions, you can ask. No questions? So whose turn is to start? Which was the specialized agency we were to discuss today? So I remember, as far as I remember, Prachi, you were to talk about ICAO. Are you ready? Just tell me something about ICAO that you have learned through this project. Yes, tell me.
It is a specialized and funding agency of United Nations. Basically, it changes the principle and technique of international organization, especially ma'am, aviation and foster development that area. And ma'am, its headquarters is located in Canada, and it was founded in the year April 1947, 4th April. On
Okay.
official language, it's include English, French, Arabic, and it's
And you
basic.
are talking about which agency?
Ma'am, International Civil Aviation Organization, ma'am.
Okay. And what is the core task of this?
Ma'am, its core task is to serve the global forum of state.
How does it?
Like, ma'am, it provide assistance to the people, public transport and all, ma'am.
That's absolutely wrong that you're talking. I'm so sorry for that. But it the Civil Aviation Organization is an agency that is actually to solve and study the problems of aviation and improve the international standards and regulations in regard to the civil aviation, and also to foster development at international air transportation. It is completely and solely for the work of air transportation, that is airlines, that is civil aviation, right? So what do you know about its the basic or the principles on its achievement? Can you enlist a few conventions that it is based upon?
Ma'am, that will be told by my mate Priya.
Okay, Priya, yes, tell me.
Good morning, ma'am. I'm Priya Raghavendra.
Yes, tell me.
Ma'am, this International Civil Aviation Organization is basically based upon the Chicago Conference of 1944,
Mm-hmm.
and the main development of aviation took place during the World War II.
Okay.
And
And
ma'am,
yes, continue, bache.
ma'am, this International Civil Aviation Organization was uh, established for the purpose to foster and develop the civil aviation around the world, ma'am,
Yes.
and to improve the aspects of civil aeronautics, and to foster the operation for the peaceful purpose, and to encourage the development of airways, airports, and air navigation facilities
Mm.
around the world, in order to meet the needs of the people of the world to have a safe and regular air transport.
Yes, absolutely right. You're correct. And this was all about ICAO. They have almost covered the whole of it. Thank you so
Yes.
much, Priya and Prachi. You have done a
Ma'am,
good job. Yes.
uh, ma'am, I am Oishini, ma'am. Can I just quickly talk about the vision and mission in a sentence or two of
Yes.
ICAO?
Please, please, please.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Just starting with it. So, ma'am, as explained by Priya and Prachi already, I'll just quickly talk about the vision and mission. So, the main
Yes.
vision of the International Civil Aviation Organization is basically to achieve the sustainable growth of global civil aviation system. And the main mission for which it was constituted was to serve as the global forum of states for international civil aviation. ICAO develops policies and standards and it also undertakes compliance audits, performs studies and analyzes, provides assistance and builds aviation capacity through many other activities and the cooperation of its member states and stakeholders. So ma'am, just to briefly sum it up, they basically look after and strive to achieve the sustainable growth of global civil aviation system. Thank you, ma'am.
That's excellent. Thank you so much, three of you, Prachi, Osini, and Priya. You did a job. And I really expect all others to do the same as and when we hold some sort of discussion. Right? So the next topic is, let's move on to the next hurriedly. And I think I do not need to talk about ICAO because they have covered almost all of it. And I again applaud them, three of them. So the next is IDA, International Development Authority. And we have Srivardhan. Yes, are you there? Ramanyam, Lalita, Likita, Lohita, Lokesh, Dikshita, Radhika, Bindu, Vinod, Malvika, Mamta Rathi, Mansa Reddy. Any one of you, Manogyana, Nandan, Mani, any one of you wants to talk about International Development Authority? No, nobody's prepared. Is any one of you here in the class? So without wasting any time, let me just continue with this. So International Development Association, International Development Authority, this was again established, it is like an advancement to the World Bank. It was, it has developed, that is in 1960. The very objective of IDA is to promote economic development in specifically that are less developed areas, and also to include more members to have better investments and interest-free loans on for various important development requirements. So again, this is an organization, it is an association primarily, that the members of IDA membership is open for all, and all the member countries of the World Bank basically can enroll and can sign up for International Development Association. So the board of the governors and the executive directors are the same as they hold the positions in the World Bank. And IDA's resources are from various subscriptions, contribution of its members. And it is also an authorized to accept supplementary contributions that are to maintain a regular review of adequacies of the resources, as in when they can provide soft loans to developing countries for a longer term with a convenient free sort of interest, which is a credit loan, right? So these loans may be for a period of 50 years. And again, there is also grace that is given to them for another increase of 10 years after the 50 years. Then also, this is, as I told you, interest free. And there is an outstanding amount that IDH, that is 3% as a service charge every year. And again, the 26 wealthiest countries makes their contributions and help the growth of IDA. And They can also give the contributions in gold and as well as in various free, convertible currencies. So the less developed nation states only pay 10% of to the forum and remaining in their own currencies. Right. So this is how it grows and actually helps other nation states to grow. This is all about ITA. Moving on to another, that is Group 10. So that is Finance Corporation, International Finance Corporation. I'll again call out the names: Jay, Jaydeep, Jayvardhan, Jaykar Siddharth, Jessica, Jishnu, Jyoti, K. Mansa Devi, Kirti, Kanishka Reddy, Karthik, Kavisri, Kesav, Kiranmai, Kritika, Kolan Vashit, Meghana. Any one of you there in the class?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. What do you understand by International Finance Corporation, and can you throw some light on its origin? Yes, Bache. Have you prepared this? Have you prepared? No reply. Anyone amongst you is there from this group, Group 10? Okay, I presume nobody. So, okay, moving on to this. IFC, International Finance Corporation, again, was established for the reason, to improve. It's a specialized agency, and again, it is an alliance. I can say it is an important association or corporation that was made in association with the World Bank, similarly to International Development Association. But IFC is a separate legal entity and its funds are distinct from the World Bank, right? So IFC was again established to assist economic development by encouraging the growth of various productive private enterprises. Again, because in its of the member countries who are signed up for this, and also to aid and assist particularly the less developed areas by helping them mobilize and mobilize domestic as well as foreign capital for the purpose of growth, right? Again, it is a specialized agency. It is in association with the World Bank. The vote is separate and its funds are also separate. It was there to assist economic development, right? And membership of IFC is again open to all governments who are the members of the World Bank. Again, its activities are done through a board of governors and there is a board of directors. The governors and the executive directors of the World Bank represent these governments, which are also members of IFC that hold, positions, identical positions for IFC. So there is a president, there is a serving chairman. That's how the chairman of IFC's World Bank is also the president, and the headquarters are situated at Washington, D.C. So IFC again invests funds in private enterprises in association with private investors and without government guarantee of repayment. Whenever there are sufficient private capital, when there is not available, it serves as a clearing house to bring together all the investment opportunities, again, private capital, both foreign and domestic, and experienced management, and help to stimulate the productive investment of private capital both at domestic as well as foreign levels. So it is more like a funding agency or an investment agency of the World Bank. Right? Is it clear? So for tomorrow, we'll talk about uh, the next, that is the Secretary General. And we'll discuss two more groups, that is IBRD. So group 11 and group 12, WHO, be prepared. We'll be discussing, and I hope the students have this group project list. Please be prepared, and kindly send me your project reports before your NCP3 so that I can at least have a look. Okay, class? Is it clear? Any questions? Let me take the attendance for now. And then we close the class. Any questions from your end? So this Friday, you have your NCP3. And on Wednesday, tomorrow, we'll discuss about Secretary General and WHO and IBRD. And thereafter, we will be left for the last class. We'll talk about ICJ and ICC, International Court of Justice, as well as we were to talk about International Criminal Court. That is the last organ of UN, the principal organs, right? And thereafter, you'll have your NCP3. Okay, so this will all come under NCP3 as well. So start preparing, and you all know that you have your finals, the end term, by 29th. So I encourage you, you should start studying, at least revise what you all have, and there, so we can have a discussion also as and when you require. Probably last week I'll keep for the last unit, and the last unit is after the 19th of November. The Monday we'll meet, that is 22nd, and in that week we'll discuss the unit 3 as well as we'll revise the topics, right? Am I clear, class? Any questions so far? Shall we close the class, bache? Shall I close the class? Okay, no response. Okay, Kritika, thank you. Sure, so I'll be closing this class. Thank you so much. See you all tomorrow.